Welcome back, everyone. We next have with us Gajendra Agrawal from JP Morgan, who will share more about the bank and how they apply technology across the business and exciting opportunities this offer for financial professionals who wish to join them. During the session, please feel free to put any questions you have in the Q&A window, and we'll address these live during this session. Without further ado, I'll now hand the time over to Gajendra.
Thanks, Florence. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gajendra Agrawal. I lead a wealth management technology space in Singapore. And I'll share three primary things in this session. One, my journey with JP Morgan. Second, what a typical day of a software engineer looks like. And third, how do we use technology, what we do about our technologies and our processes. So my journey with JP Morgan, I've been with the firm for 13 and a half years now. And I must say it's an amazing journey for me. Even though I've been with the firm for 13 and a half years, it might seem long, but I must say that I have done various roles, and almost every 2 years I've got opportunity to do something new. So I started as a junior software developer, and then eventually I started leading the teams 5 years, 6 years back. And currently I'm doing a program management role and leading the development team across the board in Singapore for the wealth management space. So I was in India, and I was fortunate to be one of the first 5 or 10 employees. And currently the India population, we have around 1,600 employees in JP Morgan. Back then I was working as a Java Swing developer over there, worked on the credit and the FX platform automation part over there. I moved to Singapore in 2012. And since then, again, I've started building the Singapore Tech Center, and we were 5 employees over here in the wealth management space in technology. Currently, we are around 120 employees, and I must say that we are still growing strong over here. In last 7 or 8 years in Singapore, I worked again on multiple applications like the middle office automation for the trading platform. Then I have also worked on onboarding space on how the client onboarding life journey is changed in JP Morgan over there. And also recently I got a chance to do an advisor experience and build a whole journey of how the advisor experience and the client experience looks like in the wealth management space for our clients. In last 5 years, we have changed our way of our development tremendously, and which is what I'll cover in my next segment, which is what is a typical day of a software engineer looks like in JP Morgan. So most of the developers, our developers will have a daily stand-up as a starting activity at 9 or 10 a.m. Followed by the code reviews, which they have to do or start working on a Jira. So if I'm a developer, I get into my daily stand-up, I explain what I've done, what I'm going to do today, if there are any blockers. Given we are all virtual, most of the sessions happens on Zoom, but I guess that is not stopping us from being collaborative, work together over there. The next thing the developers most of the time would do is they will start writing the code on the Jira they are working on. And most of our developers are full stack developers. So they work on React, they work on Java, they work on the database side on Oracle or the NoSQL databases. I'll cover that more in later. The next thing, as a part of their day-to-day activities, are they have to also do the code reviews. So basically, if I'm writing a code, my peer will review the code and make sure that they are giving the valuable comments to improve the overall experience, because we believe that we'll learn from each other and we'll get the knowledge from other people, the more than we learn on ourselves, right? Once the code reviews and all are done, which is not typically focused in a particular session, but it's throughout the day. We ask our developers to look at and spend time 2 or 3 times a day on the code reviews as well. The other things which the developers do on day-to-day basis is basically they participate in the sprint planning. What does that mean is people look at what we want to do in the next 3 weeks or so, and beyond this 3 weeks and in the quarter. So they work with our product owners, they work with our technology leads and brainstorm how our solution should be designed, what should be the design look like, what we want to focus on, and how we want to give the shape to our product. The next thing which can happen is we can have some days the demo, some days we can have retrospective. So we have generally 2 week sprint, and what we do is we try and demo whatever we have built to our like users or our product owners, to make sure that what we are building is not like looked at by the actual end users after a year, which was the typical life cycle. And we want to get the feedback early, and if there are any inputs, we immediately can correct that. Um, After that, like there can be the retrospective sessions, there can be other discussions which we do. So that's a typical day of a software engineer in JP Morgan look like. Hopefully that gives you a very good clue of how we operate, how we work. I'll I'll also cover a few things, which is like what we are doing for our developers to ease their experience of working with JP Morgan, or ease their working experience, right? So, like typically 5 or 7 years back, we had a lot of processes which were manual, which were like for any deployment. People used to take days, if not like weeks, to deploy. Now, every commit, our code goes into our dev environment, UAT environment, and potentially even in prod environment. So if we have automated this, and the experience is very frictionless over there. We also believe strongly in investing in our talent, and see how they improve on day-to-day basis, because like there is one thing which is constant, that is change. And what we have is, we have multiple weeks which we have reserved specially for people to get up to date with the latest technologies. And we have a week where what we do is, we have a like bite-sized sessions available for our developers to attend, to get an understanding of what we are doing in the like blockchain, or what is the market trends on the latest thing, what is the fintech innovation going on, what happens on the agile lifecycle journey, how we are doing the scaled agile framework, what is the SRE mean, right? Because if someone is in an organization for a long time, if we don't give this knowledge to them, then they will not learn much. So those are the key things we do. We also have some of the weeks reserved specially for doing like the innovation, and people come up with innovative ideas on how to solve certain problems. They also like come up with some of the hackathon events where they find out how we can solve a particular problem. Because like typically, if we have a problem and we reserve a given week, we feel that 5-6 members can very quickly solve a problem and show it to the business on, is this what they are expecting, is this what they want. So those are the very interesting events we do. We also believe in giving back to the society, and we have a lot of events where we work with our NGO partners to build the solutions and automate their processes. That is our way of giving back to the community, or our way of giving back to society. Now, the last bit, as I said, I'll try and cover on the like the technology and processes. So on the technology, I'm proud to say that our tech stack is quite advanced, and I would say one of the best on the streets, right? So we use React or Angular on our UI side primarily. On our services side, we use Spring Boot and like majority of the areas in the wealth management space. On the database side, we have Oracle, and we are also moving to like MS SQL, or like some of our applications are running on the Cassandra and MongoDB. Now on Oracle, like we are deploying this Oracle instances on cloud. So most of these are like available in cloud. Most of our applications which we have developed in last 5 or 6 years are all cloud native, and we had started our journey of being cloud native 7 years back. And I would say 90% of our applications are already on cloud. Some of the applications which are say vendor solutions or being built like 10 years back, we are in a journey or in a process of migrating that also to cloud. We firmly believe in investing in automation tests. So like our testing processes are not manual, and all of our developers are full stack in nature. What they do is they start like from the design, they focus on writing the code, they focus on also doing the unit test and the automation test. So we invest heavily into building the automation test. And like, for example, in React, we are using primarily Gherkin language to build these processes. And there is a heavy focus on using Protractor for building the automation test for your Angular tests. And we also use Puppeteer for our React testing. We also believe heavily in doing the monitoring, and we want the proactive alert. So for example, if there like as a user or as a end user of a given product, if suppose say like system is not working, if someone notifies me that system is not working, rather than me testing and raising an issue that system is not working, the experience, I believe all of you would agree that the best experience is that I get notified from my development team that, hey, systems are not working. So we believe in the proactive monitoring, and that is where we are investing heavily in uses of Dynatrace, uses of Splunk. So if there is some like condition which has moved into production and there is unwanted failure, then what we have is we have proactive alerts which are being monitored by our SRE team or our developers. We also focus heavily on using Agile. So most of our sprints or most of our teams work in Agile, and most of our sprints are 2-week sprint. And we also do scaled Agile framework. What does that mean? The scaled Agile framework is primarily, we have multiple Scrum teams working together and managing things. So for example, for JP Morgan Wealth Management, we have presence in Singapore, we have presence in Hong Kong, we have presence in India, we also have presence in multiple regions in Europe and US. Now, it is not always possible for us to say work on a day-to-day basis. All of this team will not talk together. So what we do is we do a product increment plan once in a quarter, where we look at what is our product vision for next 3 months to 6 months, and then we do planning at a group level, and then we do scaled Agile over there, and then each of the team focuses on what we want to deliver. So Agile is very front and center to our development approach, development strategy. And we believe that retrospectives are important to find out what we have done and what we can do differently to improve us on day-to-day basis. And that keeps us honest. The Devops is another principle we follow. So basically, the idea is what we build is what we support in production. Traditionally, 5, 6, 7 years back, the model was there was a dedicated development team. There was a level 1 support. There was a level 2 support. There was a level 3 support. Now, the time to resolve any problem was like weeks, right? And sometimes months, which was not a very good experience for our end users, right? And what we have realized is we want to reduce this, and we do not want to do this queue hopping. So if I'm developing something, my team should support because I have the best knowledge. So what we do is in our team, everyone goes through the rotation over the months, and everyone gets a chance to do the production support. What happens over here? One, the user experience is good for sure, but also our developers appreciate what we are building, how people are using in production, and they are more aware of how people are using, and they have a sense of fulfillment on how this is being used over there. So with that, I would say that I have covered what I wanted. I guess we are good to start taking up the questions.
Gajendra, there was a question on the Q&A, and it was about Waterfall. So you talked a bit about Agile. One of our audience members have asked, do we also use the Waterfall methodology for project management work?
Yeah, so I would say we do not believe in a waterfall methodology. What it means is, right, we definitely do the project planning for what we want to build, right, strategically, and it will take say 1 year for us to deliver certain solution. But does that mean we are going in waterfall? Not necessarily. As I said, it is a product increment, and in Agile also, it doesn't mean that, okay, I'm just planning for next 2 or 3 weeks, right? It always means that I'm planning for my long term, but belief is I want to add value to the business by doing the minimum work. I want to add the maximum value, right? That is the philosophy. So the idea is we believe more in Agile than waterfall. Hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Gajendra. We've got another question. I'm a Master's of Professional Accounting, MBA graduate. May I know what job positions are available for graduates and their salaries? I think I can probably take this one. Probably we would not divulge any salaries up front, but I will share that we do have quite a few graduate roles across kind of all of APAC. Most of our grad roles kind of open up around now and should probably close by November, early December. So I think you should take a look at our students page. Look at the graduate or internship type position that suits best your what you're studying. So if it's MBA, you can search under MBA programs and then look for the relevant job opportunities. I would say a lot of those are still open now and should close by year end. So please do take a look at our students page and have a look at the relevant MBA role. And we do have them across APAC. I'm really sorry, I did not, one of the questions was answered, but I saw it pop up and then it went away again.
Yeah, I think it was more JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, which I have heard it in past also. So that is not new thing for me. So I think people mix up JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. So obviously JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley are completely different firms. And this is more JP Morgan session.
And if anybody's interested, there's a book about how the Morgan families kind of came up. So if anyone's interested, I think you can read this book. It's a big book. Is there a train and place program for return to work women who take a career break for family commitment? Really glad you asked this question. And the answer is yes. We actually do have a returnship program, our re-entry program, which looks at anyone. It doesn't have to be a woman, but we understand that this is probably a large proportion of folks returning. This is a program for anyone who's been outside of the workplace for 2 years. This program is open and we should have jobs posted very soon. It is a fellowship program. So those who come to JP Morgan will work 15 weeks as a fellow, with the goal of converting into a full-time role after that. So the fellowship itself runs from the 15th of March until the 30th of June, with the intention to convert to a full-time role with our firm from the 1st of July onwards. So this is a program we do run. We have opportunities in Singapore and Hong Kong, and the role should be live quite soon in our technology space. Okay,
go ahead.
I was just going to read up the questions and we can rotate
Yep,
between us.
please.
I have extensive project experience in various industries, practicing both Agile and Waterfall concepts. Is age a barrier to your hiring process in this instance? My answer is no, it really shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
So please do apply. We respect anyone from any background. We're very passionate about, diversity of thought in our organization. So if you feel there's a role for you, regardless of your background, I would encourage you to apply. Okay, is there mid-career opportunity for Singaporeans? I believe we have participated in the TIFIT program, which I think is closed now, but it's something that JP Morgan are very passionate to be a part of. But for those kind of opportunities, I think also sync up with IBF as well to find out more. I'm a compliance guy with a year's experience, but I kept being rejected by JP Morgan. May I ask, how do I increase my chances to get hired? I think there's a few different, I'll give my take on it, and then maybe Gajendra, for you can share with us anybody who maybe applied once and then tried again the following year and was successful. My top tip on this one is to always, it depends at which part of the process you were rejected. If you were rejected at the interview stage, maybe do have a chat with your recruiter, or just make sure you're practicing your interview techniques. If you were rejected at the CV stage, i.e. you didn't progress to the interview, my top tip here will be to always reference a job and ensure that your CV is as tailored as possible to the job you apply for. So when you read a job description, ensure to read the kind of qualifications, make sure you highlight the most relevant parts of your CV, so that when someone reviews your CV, they will be able to pick those bits out and surface your profiles to hiring managers, and ensure that you're part of the process. Gajendra, do you have any tips for anybody who failed interview maybe 1 year and then was successful subsequently?
Yeah, so we have few cases for sure on this, right? Like, so generally I would cover more from the technology or private bank technology space point of view, right? So generally we have typically 4 rounds of interview, right, in our interview like journey or interview experiences. What we do is we cover various aspects from the development, how a person is a hands-on developer, can write a code, right? Focusing on what they have done in their past projects. Do they have a good understanding of what they have done in their projects? Do they also understand how to design the solutions, right? And if we ask something which is like not part of their day-to-day, how much they know, how much they have understanding of, right? So those are the key things which we focus on. Now, if suppose say someone is getting rejected, the way I look at it, or the way I suggest to everyone to look at it is, it's not that someone has rejected, it's more of you might not be a very good fit for the given role. That is how we look at it, rather than saying that, oh, someone has selected or rejected. So the suggestion would be, as Farah rightly mentioned, try and understand it from the recruiters, because as a developers or as interviewers, we give detailed feedback, and the recruiter can share what are the aspects has been covered, what they think, and they can give you some generic guidelines on what the focus area should be. Hope that helps you.
And we're definitely hiring compliance, so please continue to search for the relevant job opportunities. Our recruiters, just a small share that our recruiters will be logging in periodically today in our booth. So please do visit the booth and have a chat to one of us. Okay, hi there. I've applied for the graduate program previously, and the process stopped after the Pymetrics interview. And it says it's still assessing for quite some time now. May I know if the process will be continued, and how long do we have to wait, or this means we are not selected? So my answer to this is, if you have not received a rejection email, you are likely still in the process. You could drop an email to the person who contacted you initially to ask for a follow-up. I would say we have a lot of candidates, and we are probably still sifting through our candidates for the graduate program. So if you have not received a clear rejection email, you have not yet been rejected. May I know if you have a private banking department? If yes, what kind of profile are you looking for? Gajendra, I'll turn this on over to you to maybe cover across all of private banking.
Sure. So in the private banking, like we definitely have private bank division. And as I said, I'm part of the private bank technology team, right? We have various roles, from the technology, from the project management, from the business side, we have front office roles. We have like on the middle office operation side, we have roles. So we have roles at various levels, starting from like very entry level roles to seasoned, like the leads role. So feel free to apply online, as Farah mentioned, and we have our booth where you can go and find out more. In technology, I can for sure confirm that we have around like 15 or 20 roles open, so feel free to apply, and we continue to open more positions, and we are growing strongly over here. So please do apply if you feel that you are right fit for those roles.
And from the actual private bank side, I think they've had a significant period of growth this year, and they are continuing to hire bankers and managers and product folks in that part of the business as well. So if those are interesting to you, please do search and apply for the roles in the private bank itself as well. Okay, how does employment at JP Morgan look for someone with 1 year of Agile project manager experience?
I can take that as well, Farah. So I would say we definitely have roles for 1 year of project management experience, or the Agile project management experience, right? I would say typically the expectation would be the person has a good understanding of how to write the Jira, how to create the project or product vision, right? How the person can learn and understand the domain, because domain will be critical. And we expect people with, say, lesser experience, they might not have a full understanding of the wealth management business, right? But the expectation is, when someone comes in the role, are they ready to take up the challenge, and are they ready to learn the domain? Are they ready to learn new things, right? Because that is critical. So we definitely have, like, say, opportunities over there. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Okay, how about returning Singaporeans considering switching industries? So I think this one probably you can consult with the IBF to see what programs they have as a whole across the board. But from a JP Morgan perspective, if the role that you're looking for is relevant and you can apply the skills that you have gained, we'd be, of course, very open to look at your candidacy for the roles that you applied for. That would be my answer. Okay, what is HR's thinking on applicants who may be overqualified for a role he or she is applying for, who is applying to for an easier transitioning into a new organization? Would you rejoice or reject a person who is overqualified? I guess it really depends on the role, and it depends on the type of overqualification, because sometimes you read a job description and it says we're looking for someone with 5 years of experience, and you have yourself maybe 8 years of experience. So in this instance, you would be, I guess, considered overqualified, but you may also be the best person for the job when we interview people with 5 years plus of experience. It could be someone with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of experience. So generally, as a rule of thumb, we do keep our jobs fairly broad in order to attract the most diversified pool of candidates. So I would not say that if you have significantly more years of experience in the job description that we would rejoice or not rejoice to get your CV. If you have the skill set that we like and are relevant for the role, we would definitely like to consider your candidacy. I think that would be my answer on over experience. What about you, Gajendra? Do you hire sometimes in your teams for folks with a lot more experience than you originally thought? And what is your approach when you meet this type of candidates?
Sure. So we definitely do hire. I would not say no on that. So an explanation or a experience I had, I can share, right? So when we are looking to hire associates, right, our range is quite broad in terms of experience. It can be 5 years to 20 years, right? And like sometimes people might feel, oh, I have 20 years experience and I might be qualified, but that is not necessarily true. When someone comes in the role, what we focus on is, hey, as an individual, how curious that person is, how interested that person or willingness the person is showing to learn certain areas, right? Because one, like a person should definitely have an understanding of what we are doing. Second, is the person doing or meeting the minimum expectation, right? The third thing, as I said, is how curious that person is. Is this person really still like willing to take that extra yard to learn? Because someone with an experience, they might not always want to go an extra mile. That is the part which I would just bring in, right? As long as people have that right mindset, I don't think overqualification is always a problem. At the same time, some of the profiles example, as like I'll take example which Farah again highlighted, a 5 years experience, but someone with a 20 years industry experience without any break is applying. It might certainly be overqualification. And I don't think someone coming in that role will be a right fit. However, if someone has taken a break for 5 years or so for whatever reasons, and then coming with a 20 years experience, that's a different discussion. Again, we can look at those. So it will be more of case to case basis.
Thanks, Gajendra. I'm going to just skip down a little bit because I do want to address this. I applied for TIFIT this year. May I know why I did not get any interviews from JP Morgan as I got interview from UBS and Goldman? May I know the criteria for selection of interview? So I do want to answer this. Gajendra and I partnered quite closely on the TIFIT program this year. You may also check in with the IBF onto as to the reasons for that, but I just want to flag that we had a lot of candidates apply for roles this year, and we indeed had quite a few number of roles. So, please do not be disheartened if you did not get an interview. We genuinely try to talk to as many candidates as possible. It will have been purely down to the lack of kind of interviewing slots. And sometimes maybe there were just other candidates that were surfaced sooner that the teams wanted to interview. So please do not be disheartened. We are going to take on a lot of trainees. We're very passionate about this program. I just wanted to answer that. Where can I find fellowship website? Yes, you may type in re-entry program, JP Morgan, that should appear and you should be able to find the jobs there. So I think we're down to our final question. Could you share a bit more about the technology used in AML issues, Gajendra?
Yeah, I can take that up. So on the technologies used in AML, so we definitely like have invested recently in this area, right? And we do like Python. We use Python over here, and a couple of years back in the onboarding space I was managing, we were doing a POC to find out, hey, how a given person is looking like. So example, someone wants to open an account with JP Morgan, right? How their source of wealth is coming from, how do we find that information out? Are there any AML related issues? So all these things we looked at it, and there was like natural language processing, NLP we also used the AI ML use case over there. And we were able to do a POC using scraping some of the data from different websites, do some Google searching and finding it out, programmatically doing Google search and find out, hey, has this person recently acquired any property, or has this person done anything over there? So those are the AML use cases we had. And Python and natural language processing is the two things which we have used to solve this problem.
And just to follow up, do we use R programming at all at our firm that you're aware of, Gajendra?
I do not necessarily know if we use it. So maybe there will be in Singapore, like we have like say 1,400, 1,500 technologists overall. So I might not have the right answer for that. I believe so we use it, but I don't have answer to that. Apologies about that.
Thank you. And then there was one quick one about NLP and machine learning roles currently. Yes, they are. We actually have one technology group that's doing a lot of work in this space. You may check out the group under equities, cash markets. They have quite some NLP and machine learning roles. So please do take a look at those and apply. And if you want to chat more, yeah, come to our booth. We'll have some recruiters there on those roles, but we definitely do. You can search for those. No worries at all. I think we're at time. So shall we pass back to you, Florence?
You're in mute. You're in mute, Florence.
Hey. Thank you, Gajendra. Thank you, Farah, so much for your sharing. Actually, we will be happy to take more questions, but I think right now we are about to break for lunch. So do take this time to explore the exciting booths in the hiring zone, and take the chance to speak to the recruiters who will be online to answer a few more of these questions that you will have. So our next session will start at 2 p.m. this afternoon after lunch. So meanwhile, enjoy your lunch, and I will see you back here at 2 p.m. later. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Sarah. Thank you, Gajendra.
Thanks.
Bye.